Well, I think this hand here gives a good illustration of why we should be thinking about SPR and pot bet sizes, and you'll see why as we play the hand through. I make a fairly standard raise in early position with 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's not, it'd be better if it was double suited, but I still think there's good value in the hand, and I think the 3 clubs actually help us as well, because it's one extra blocker if we run into a situation where we're up against the nut flush, for example. Say we flop a straight and someone gets it in with a nut flush. It's just one extra out that they don't have. So I make a fairly standard open. I get a call from probably the target at the table on the button. As you can see, most of the other players have got fairly standardish stats at the table, apart from maybe this guy here who's a little bit loose passive. But he's certainly the most aggressive player. He's going down to showdown 48% of the time. He seems to have quite a bit of variety to his game. So we certainly don't mind being involved in a pot with him, even though we are obviously semi-deep and we're out of position. We do have a fairly decent hand, and I think he's going to be calling fairly wide, as his hand shows. I mean, it's not a bad hand to be playing on the button, but he's probably going to be calling with worse hands than that, which is essentially what we want. We get one other caller, and we flop fairly good, although it's also a fairly dangerous flop as well. We've got a full wrap, but obviously there's a flush draw on the board as well. Now, what I decided to do here to retain control of the pot size, because I didn't, with the nature of this board, obviously we can be crushed fairly often on this kind of board, obviously at like 7, 8, 9, 10 with diamonds, or top pair with the nut flush draw. I mean, as it goes, he's actually got a hand that he's got top pair in the second nut flush draw, which is a hand that runs pretty well against us. But if you look at the equities, we still have 34% equity, so we're not totally dead in the water. We've obviously got 17 straight outs. Some of them are obviously tainted with being diamonds and being non-nut straight outs. We've actually got 6 nut straight outs. Now, what I elected to do here was to bet $6 into 11, which is slightly less than I would normally make as a continuation bet. And the reason that I bet less is because I didn't want to be facing a full pot check raise, because then it reduces our maneuverability on later streets. If I bet the full pot, then this guy, for example, he can raise to 44, I think, and what it essentially does, it gets the pot big quickly. And we're out of position with a marginal hand, and we're hardly going to have any maneuverability on the flop, because if he raises to 44, the pot size is going to be 66, and it's going to be 33 for us to call. So on the turn, the pot, when the turn card hits, the pot is going to be $99. He's going to have around about 150 left in his stack, and we're hardly going to have any maneuverability. Especially if we make a good but non-nut hand, if an 8 hits or something like that, it can put us in some very tricky positions.